Hello.
Hello.
I'm Callum.
And I'm Nick.
And this is
That's Eurovision, baby.
Yes, we're back for another installment of Eurovision off-season goodness for your ear holes.
Yeah.
And we've been digging up a lot of ideas, a lot of themes of what we could talk about, and we've landed on a good one, I think. I'm quite excited to talk about this theme. Nick, do you want to give the audience a little taste of what we'll be talking about today?
Now, I know that mostly the taste that we've been giving you for the last couple of weeks has really been the bottom of the barrel that we've been scraping ideas from. But this week, we've got one that I think is a little bit fun because we are going to be talking about the countries that we think about when we say, in the next 5 years, who's got this? Who do we reckon we see a win coming for?
Yeah, think of these as like those underdog countries that we keep going, God, they've been consistent.
Exactly.
I could see Eurovision being in this country in the next 5 years.
Now, for clarity, in this ranking, we will not be covering the heavyweights,
the overdogs,
like Sweden and Ukraine and Italy.
Yes.
I think a win in the next 5 years for them kind of feels a little bit presumptive, or it doesn't feel as exciting as it would.
It's not as fun to talk about.
I don't know. It wouldn't feel as fun as if, I don't know, Turkey came back and just swept it in 1 year or something.
Absolutely. And so we also won't be discussing Switzerland or Austria because they also won the last 2 years. Yawn, boring, overdogs now. But I think Switzerland's a good comparison when you think about it. Think about Switzerland in the 2020s before they won, where you went, they've been consistent, they've clearly learnt, and they're like honing their craft, and then the win became inevitable. So we're going to be forecasting and a little forecasting device to see which countries we think could follow in Switzerland's trajectory through consistency and hard work, and who could win Eurovision in the next 5 years, and maybe even next year. If one of the countries we mention wins next year, come back to this video.
You owe us a you owe us a trip to Macca's.
Absolutely.
Like we're not expensive taste.
We expect one Big Mac. We'll share it.
Yeah, we'll share it.
We don't want to make it broke or anything.
And a plastic knife, if that's okay, just so we can cut it down the middle.
Yeah. But anyway, Nick, that's enough vamping, enough showboating. Let's get into it. So what's the first country that we're going to discuss when it comes to they've got the goods, they could win? Now,
I know Callum isn't going to do this because he loves to embarrass me when I ask him to do graphics for me, and he never puts them on the screen. But I'm going to imagine a crystal ball right here.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to imagine a crystal ball in front of us. And
maybe I will do this one, actually.
Exactly. We're looking into the depths of the crystal ball, and the first country that I can sort of see swirling in the depths of that crystal ball is Lithuania. Now, why? Why do I think Lithuania is going to win?
You're asking me when you said it first. I was like, I don't know, Nick, it's your entry.
Why? Why do I think Lithuania is going to win? I think that what we've seen in the last few years from Lithuania has been high quality, it's been consistent, and I think it's also been representative in its own point of view. I think that I really enjoy what Lithuania is doing because it doesn't feel like they're trying to do what anyone else is doing. They're just kind of like riding in their own lane. And I really think that the improvement and the quality that we've seen from them overall over the last couple of years, I think that they've been growing and growing and growing. And it's one of those countries where it just feels like
It feels like
it's coming.
The momentum's there. Like, I tend to think about how countries have been from 2021 to 2025. The 2020s of Eurovision.
Exactly.
Lithuania, if you look at, they have a 100% qualifying streak. They've not qualified in the 2020s, which is already extremely impressive.
Exactly. And if we look at some of their past results, like from 2021, they came 8th with the Roop. They've had a 14th. They've had 11th, 14th again, and 16th most recently.
So they're sort of hanging around the teens area. So, we've not really seen many top 10 finishes from them. But again, I think the key word here is consistency. And also, to your point, iconography. The Roop, or Monica Lou, or Sylvester Bell.
Come on, fuck ass Bob.
Fuck ass Bob's Monica Lou.
Again, I maintain that she should have won every single year.
Monica Lou's fuck ass Bob.
Monica Lou's fuck ass Bob should have won Eurovision in 2022, and it also should have won every consequent year, despite not entering the competition.
You know what we should do when we do our Tebby Awards for next year? The Monica Lou Fuck Us Bob Award for like best hairstyle of the event.
Oh,
yeah.
Write that down. Write that down.
The Golden Bob.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, I think it's the Fuck Ass Bob.
The Fuck Us Bob
It's got to
Award.
be,
Yeah, absolutely.
the Monica Lou Fuck Assery and Bob Award.
Who won it this year? Do you know what? Ironically, it was Catharsis that won the Fuck Us Bob
he
Award
did win
this
the
year
Fuck Us-
with his wind machine and that hair.
Oh, yeah.
Again, Lithuania.
Carrying on a tradition, iconography.
And I just want to quickly, we've derailed, we've got to come back. I just want to quickly say though, like even the fandom around Catharsis this year, like they are consistently delivering songs that have fan bases that age well, and that I think that if they keep doing this, it's only a matter of time before the sort of alignment happens and they produce a win. Their first win, Lithuania has never won Eurovision.
Exactly. So I guess looking at the positives of what they have, what they're building, and what they're bringing to the competition at the moment. On the counter side of that, what do you think is the thing that's currently holding them back?
Yeah, that's a very good question.
What do we think is the final barrier to fall for them?
Yeah, I think that it's a classic thing of being an underdog means you often fall under the radar. And I think it's probably going to be a consistent thing with some of the countries we talk about. I feel like it's difficult for countries like Lithuania or some of the Baltics and some of the Balkans as well to get sort of consistent love because a lot of those ally nations tend to skip certain regions.
I get you. And
you'll find Serbia absorbs a lot of Balkan votes, or Sweden will absorb a lot of the Baltic, Scandinavian votes.
Yeah, and sometimes it feels like some of the smaller countries that maybe have like not as big of a diaspora community, or maybe not as much allyship on the continent. It does feel like sometimes if certain countries have to bring a 6 to get 200 points from the televote, a lot of these smaller countries have to bring their A game, like their 9s and their 10s.
No, absolutely. And I think that's going to be a consistent thing for the countries we do discuss. However, I think what it takes is they just need the right mix of charisma. They need that personality. They need like a Karia or a Baby Lasagna or a Tommy Cash. I don't mean in the party boy sense. I don't mean that style of music. I just mean they need
their personality.
That charismatic personality or band that gets the electricity in the room going.
That starts to get them like sort of associated with that country. Yeah,
but I think also, that's a good point. We'll touch upon that. But I think, when I say that, I think it can be a woman doing a ballad. It could be like a Barbara Pravi. Like, I just mean they just need to get that figure that sort of has the charisma and the sort of the hype. But they're kind of doing it. They're just not quite doing it as much as another country or two every year. And that's why we're seeing them sort of not quite pull out the win. But I really like your point. And I will say, guys, very quickly, we'll probably spend a little bit more time on Lithuania because the points we're pulling out apply to the other ones.
Yeah.
So, we're kind of discussing a bit of, at large.
We'll go downstream from here.
Yes. Oh, that's very corporate of you. But your point around identity is super important. Yeah. I think Lithuania is building quite a good identity for themselves and a sound and sort of an expectation of what to come. But maybe they're also not quite there in terms of there's certain countries where you almost know what you're going to get. And people love that. Yeah. And like Ukraine's a great example of, that Ukraine's going to send something incredible. It's referencing Ukrainian history, but also be extremely modern.
Yeah, like a bit of like ethno pop. Sort of like.
And people expect that, anticipate that, and then vote because they get rewarded, the dopamine response when the country that you love does the thing you love.
Exactly.
I think if Lithuania can maybe take a coin from that belt, the Sylvester belt. Yep.
Damn it.
And maybe it's like, maybe their thing is just like really great, charismatic lead people like Sylvester Belt, like Monica Lou. Get a couple of those in a row, and then people like, who's going to be the really cool, like up on stage just delivering.
And because I also feel like, obviously, like if you take it back to the Roop as well, I think that they had something very similar there, where it's like big sort of energy that then becomes, I guess, a bit associated with.
I think the Roop was probably the closest Lithuania had in recent memory to that sort of like charisma, ubiquity. It's not to say the others haven't been as good, but you think about how the Roop was so kind of like beloved. If they can bring back some of that energy, I see a very good outcome for them.
I agree. let's maybe move on to our next country.
Yes.
We're reaching back again into the crystal ball, and the next name that I'm plucking out there, that I can see just in the depths there, it's now also a hat that I'm pulling names out of as well as a crystal
rabbit
ball.
out of a hat,
is Armenia.
Okay, I like it.
Now,
me acting like we've not discussed this top 5. I'm like, oh my god, really?
You wouldn't know. Now, this being said, I think I've made quite open and public on the channel before that Snap is not my favourite. It is by far not my favourite, but I think that the quality. What I see for Armenia is I see the quality that they've brought to Eurovision each year, sort of since then. Like Jacko from 2024 was probably
amazing.
One of my faves of the year.
Look, I think just quickly before you kind of shift from there, I think your point on quality with Lithuania and now Armenia, I think Rosalind fits in the category. Even I'm a Survivor, Stay Aliver. Yeah. The way they brought that to life on stage took a pretty weak song into something that could qualify. So I think it's like, subjective taste aside, I can see that Armenia is building something very impressive.
I agree. And I think even looking back at like Brunette with Future Lover, because I remember like...
Love that.
Yeah, it's a fantastic song. And I remember the fandom about that. And obviously, like, funny lyrics aside... Gal just wants to have a coffee at a near cafe.
Maybe Armenia could work a bit on the lyricism. Near cafes and Staying Alive are probably not the most, cut through lyricism of Eurovision.
But I can see them building, and I think the thing that I see for Armenia as well is their success at Junior Eurovision.
Yeah.
Like, one of my absolute banger songs that I have on my playlist was one of their winners with Kami Kami.
I will say, we don't really follow Junior Eurovision. That's not really our scene, but that Kami Kami sort of cut through the noise and we're like, oh, what's this?
And it was so good that it genuinely feels like they could have sent it to like proper Eurovision. Sorry, that's rude. Junior Eurovision is proper Eurovision, but like adult Eurovision.
Yeah. Well, I get what you're saying, but I think it's funny when you talk about Junior Eurovision though, like Georgia also being another powerhouse of Eurovision and sort of
doing nothing with it,
doing the opposite direction to what Armenia is doing. I think if Armenia can just sort of, again, if what they need to do is maybe get rid of some of the tack that they sometimes can bring. Like Park Song was a little bit on the nose, or like, Rosalind's Toilet Paper House did not score well. It made it to the final though, but
but it did come 20th.
Before we knew it would be the second most streamed song of all Eurovision time, like,
which is still nuts, by the way.
It was a bit of a saccharine song in a Toilet Paper House. I think that there's certain elements that when they get right though, and it's like Jacko energy, oh my god, like that Armenia is an Armenia that can win. And I could have seen a pathway had 2024 not had the Bejba lasagna hype and everything, the use type of like
Lada Niva.
Yes, Lada Niva. The Jacko is like building that hype too and getting a massive fan base. And so, I think that my tip for you guys as a Eurovision expert,
speaking directly to you, the people of Armenia,
if they could take some of the cool that we were describing of Lithuania and just inject it into their songs a little better, I think you would have a really, really strong package. And even, I don't think it's happening, but like the rumor mill saying that maybe Baby No Money could represent Armenia next year. Like, that's the sort of hype you want in the pre-Eurovision season to get good like momentum. Even if it doesn't eventuate to anything, it's still your country being talked about.
People are going to be talking about it. Now, the concern is, though, do they fall into the Great Britain trap? The UK trap of Rina Sawayama representing the UK, and then once that was not true, the hype kind of died out a little bit.
Potentially. Look, we may have the crystal ball clearly in front of us, but we're not,
All we're saying is don't rely solely on the possibility that Baby No Money will possibly represent Armenia.
I think that if Armenia keeps going down the track of your Lada Nivas, or alternatively just finds a really cool song that's like a bit like a Brunette type, I think that I can see it for them. Otherwise they wouldn't be in this countdown or this ranking.
Exactly. But shall we move on to our third country?
We should.
I would love to talk to you about a little underdog country.
They all are.
Called France.
Not quite an underdog country, but I see where you're going with this.
No. Very small country. No one's really heard of them. They're just sort of doing
little,
just
unknown country.
tiny little thing.
Look,
Now-
I think it's important to say that we said we weren't going to talk about like your Italy's, your Ukraine's, your Sweden's. I think the reason why you've brought up France is probably because France hasn't won Eurovision since like the 70s or the 80s.
77.
77.
Yeah.
They're hungry for a win,
Yeah.
and you can tell with what they're entering.
Oh, yeah.
So I think, like, whilst I wouldn't call them underdogs, I think their lack of win and their focus on a win qualifies them for this category, right?
I completely agree, because you have your underdogs who are sort of striving for a win and maybe don't have the budget or the hype
or the population or the diaspora or all those things.
exactly that like a France or an Italy have. What I don't see from other countries, especially in the big five, is exactly like you said,
Laser focus.
the laser focus on winning. Now, unfortunately, that I think has been to their detriment a little bit.
Yes, look, I would encourage you guys to go back and watch our last video where we
Yep.
actually ranked the last 10 entries from France. And we
won't retread too
We're
much.
not going to retread too much, but I think that sometimes their laser focus comes across a little bit too serious, and then it kind of gets to the stage and people get a little
Yeah.
bit like, oh, you're taking yourself a little bit too seriously.
It's the kid that really, really, really wants to win at like sport at school, and it instantly makes them less cool and makes you want to help them
I'm going to
less.
say it's like the kid who so desperately wants to be like arty and then becomes a bit pretentious as a result.
Yeah.
So, but I think with France, though, I think they're taking a slightly different route to Armenia and Lithuania, where I don't think for them it's about sending something deeply cool. I think they have the song quality there. I
Yeah.
think they have the hype there. They have the entries coming in and you know, doing quite well in the bookies odds. I think what they now need is just a little shot of not being afraid to reference more modern music.
I think that like it's. I think we're just waiting for them to bring the whole package together again, like they did with Barbara Pravi. Because I do think that Barbara Pravi in many other years would have won.
Would have won, yeah.
And by a not insignificant margin.
I
either.
agree, actually, yeah.
But it's one of those things where we've seen really good songs, we've seen good stagings, but we're yet to see sort of the full package really come together again for France. But you can tell how bad they want it.
It's a little bit diminishing returns too. Obviously, you had Finland in 2022, which didn't do amazingly.
Yeah.
But then I'd say 3, 4, and 5, we've sort of seen France try to replicate another Voila moment. And I don't want to diminish these songs. If you watch our ranking, you'll see we're quite fond of a lot of them. It's more just the idea of, you know, they want another Barbara Pravi, and I think their victory is going to come from searching somewhere else, but bringing the same level of production and polish that France has become known for.
Because I think the thing that Barbara Pravi had that maybe we haven't seen from a lot of the other acts is like that song knew exactly what it was and it knew exactly what message it was trying to send. And I think, maybe we've seen that lost along the way
and
a
not
little bit.
bogged down by like, you know, Lazara's giant podium stage or, you know, Slimen's slightly creepy kind of touching the camera moments or Luann's, you know, hourglass motif looking like something else. I think like, you know, there was a singularity to what Barbara did. And so like if France can sort of simplify, maybe amp up maybe be a bit more contemporary, but that's kind of my personal preference rather than what it would take. And then, strip back, but keep the core of it. I definitely could see a win. I think of the ones we've spoken about so far, I think France has it in them very soon.
I very much agree, because the thing for me though is if I'm thinking about France, I reckon they need to win in the next 2 to 3 years, because otherwise I think that their momentum is going to putter out, and I think that we're going to see like early 2000s France where they were
they weren't great.
No, where they were relegated a lot to the middle and the bottom of the
I kind of agree with you actually.
Again, that's not to say that if they don't win in the next 3 years that they'll never win again. It's just to say I see a window for them to capitalize on the motion that they've got.
Yeah, they have a vibe. They have identity, which is something we said you need. They've got fans. I think if they can just sort of steer the boat away from the kind of sometimes cringe territory they fall into, then I think you've got a really strong package for France. But I think we should move on to our next one.
I think that we should.
Crazy.
So the next country that we're going to be talking about is Estonia. Sorry. Crystal ball. Estonia. We're going to be talking about Estonia. There you go. Thank
I'm
you, Cal.
picking out like the smoke, you know. It's like it's
I look forward to
cloudy,
seeing you edit that
and then
together.
it's come out, and I'm like, ooh, yeah, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do this, and I'll just say like, clip missing, missing media.
Dumb.
Yes, Estonia.
Now tell me why you think Estonia is on a good track at the moment. What do you think they've got going for them?
Tommy Cash.
Yes. Alrighty, moving on to our next country.
I think what Estonia has going on for them is, and I guess it's like their Baltic neighbor Lithuania is in the same boat, so there might be a bit of overlap, is consistency in the 2020s. I believe also, and correct me if I'm wrong, that Estonia has qualified.
Incorrect.
They didn't qualify in 21.
Correct.
But they qualified 22, 3, 4,
Yes.
5.
Yes.
So they've qualified in a streak since 2021.
Yeah.
And their entries have probably been a bit sporadic. Like there's not a lot of identity with Estonia. But I think what they're doing is I think they're sort of finding elements that work for them. I don't know. They find an element that works and they make it work really well. Like I think about Alika's Bridges. Like, okay,
I love that.
balladry, not my zhuzh, and like not really something I'd associate with Estonia, but then they come out and they do it extremely well and make like a top 10 finish, you know?
Yeah. So I think for me, what I think about when I'm thinking about Estonia, and I don't want to boil it down to just being singularly about Tommy Cash, but again, I see for Estonia, I see a momentum that they are, if they are smart and able to capture that momentum, I really do think that they could pivot at the post in the next year or two. Because what I see for Estonia is a beloved public vote winner.
Yes.
Who
We said what we said.
Yeah, exactly. Who unfortunately wasn't able to get across the line in quite a controversial set of circumstances, and with a song that I think really captured the imagination of a sect of Europe and the world.
Well, think about the fact that Sweden were tapped as the kind of
the televote boys,
and Tommy Cash kind of
destroyed that.
Yeah.
So I really think that they have the opportunity here. I'm not saying that they should bring Tommy Cash back again, but I think that they need to bring someone in that I think can capture a similar sort of energy. They need to bring in someone who is fun, and again, similar for Lithuania, like who is fun and who is charismatic and can sort of capture that same attention that Tommy Cash did and bring that to the stage again in what will hopefully be a less controversial set of circumstances.
Yeah, I think with Estonia, there's a couple of things they've got going for them. I think Tommy Cash is a catalyst, but you've got a foundation of the last 4 Eurovisions of sending really good songs that kind of validate.
Yeah.
Tommy Cash isn't a fluke. Tommy Cash is the result of like attracting talent and then getting someone who's quite famous in Estonia and the world to want to join, right? So then you've got this kind of foundation, you've got a catalyst now, like the rocket ship taking off. Now it's like, I want to see what you do next. And I genuinely think the Eurovision community is very... Eyes are on Estonia next year. Yeah. And I think that's good. And also, don't underestimate like goodwill momentum. Like it's very much like Switzerland, where it's like you could tell that they were leading to something. Yeah. And then the code comes and it's like, okay,
that's the one.
Now it's easy for us to give it to Switzerland. I think if Estonia comes in next year with a song that's the same quality that they've been sending, I wouldn't be surprised if it like, you know, starts to get jury love as well. And then suddenly you've got a song that's kind of hitting the televote points still, but not sweeping the juries, but getting a lot of jury love too. And then suddenly you've got a winner.
Because if you want my opinion, I think that Estonia's way to the crown is the Duncan Lawrence way of winning neither, but winning the whole thing.
I also think a Duncan Lawrence style performer. Yeah. Whereas it's like, you know, you've proven you can send ballads and stage them well. You've proven you can send personalities and stage them well. Like, I think Estonia's quite lucky. They could pretty much choose what genre they want to send next year. Yeah. And if they execute it really well, I think they could place really well. But we'll see. They could drop the ball and then not even qualify.
Who knows?
And we'll see. That's Eurovision, baby.
That sure is. Thank you so much, Callum.
God, that was funny.
Oh, they really lighten the world on fire.
Anyway, what's the next one?
So we'll move on to our last, we're going to do 5.
Or 5. A little smattering of 5.
Just a little cheeky 5, just to give you a little morsel. Now, the country that... No. Banned. I apologise to anyone that heard that. Our country that we're moving on to last is going to be... Of course it's bloody Finland.
Yeah.
Who else was it going to bloody be?
Well, look, I think of all the ones we're talking about, we've saved what I see as the country that but the country that if I was to say completely baselessly with no knowledge of the songs entering and no absolute, understanding that I think is going to win next year, it's probably Finland. And I just want to disclaim this very quickly. We're looking at Finland for the 2020s and probably a little bit before that, but Finland were a bit patchy in the 2010s. But we're looking at Finland in the context of the 2020s. So I would encourage you guys right now to...
But we aren't looking at Jezebel.
To take off the Erika Vickman glasses that you think we're wearing and actually just think about the package that Finland has been having for the last 5 years. Because holy shit, so it's incredibly impressive.
If we want to talk about France being laser focused and hungry for the win,
oh my god, Finland is
coming for fucking blood,
and they're ticking all the boxes of what we said, right? Like building momentum, identity out the wazoo. You know a Finnish song coming.
Oh yeah,
charisma. Like you've already proven that you can set up stars who the fandom will absolutely go crazy for.
Literally, charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent is absolutely flowing out of Finland right now.
Finland is basically... I don't really have notes for them. UMK is the best national final.
I don't even need to look at the rankings in my phone to remember what we've had across the last couple of years. Excluding Jezebel. Sorry.
Yeah, Jezebel was a bit of a miss there, but that's okay.
But that's okay because they did it once and they went...
Look, I think what happened is you had Blind Channel in 2021 come, and I believe they came 6th, and that sort of pop punk rock sound, and it also, I think Finland constantly harkens back to Lordi, constantly harkens back to that iconic performance. It wouldn't be Finland without a bit of rock. It wouldn't be Finland without a bit of fun, a bit of a wink, a bit of camp. And it's funny when Finland deviates from that, you see the score reflect R.E.P. Norma Jean. Yeah. But in saying that, I think that that Finland's going to send an artist that is probably extremely charismatic. The song's going to be catchy as all hell.
Yep.
And I don't know. I can see the stars aligning for them next year. I do have one criticism, though, that could hold Finland back. I know. I think that Puppy being disqualified from UMK this year was a bit of a blessing. Had it won UMK, I think it sort of changes the trajectory of Finland a little bit. It's great that they have an identity. I think we need to not just send sort of the same... copy paste fun rock. Are they taking it seriously? I don't know. And as much as I love Windows 95, man, it's sort of that same thing of towing that line a little bit. I think they need to channel that into
blindly.
God, he's good. I think they need to channel that into another sort of Kari Erika Vickman lane.
So I think the thing that makes me most confident in plucking Finland out of my crystal ball is probably the one that I think has the most likelihood of doing well and winning in the next few years is I think just the sheer support that they sort of allow their artists to come into the competition with. So coming from UMK, which is being heavily regarded in the 2020s as probably one
gold
of the
standard.
I think previously it was Melody Festivalen, but I think that people are sort of becoming unenamored with the repetition at Melody Festivalen.
Fair.
Whereas I think UMK is really sort of coming to fill that gap of the best national final, or the one to look to for the quality that is coming in this year.
And you have to remember too, I can't speak for all the UMKs from recent memory, but last year's or this year's, they all got a music video shot. They all got to work with Sergio Hayen for the staging. By the time they got to the UMK stage, they had a package. They had they were a little sort of marketing package ready to go. That is brilliant. I wish more countries did that for them, because it made I found the UMK songs, I still remember them all. They all feel so distinct in a way that I name one Melody Festival song that isn't 4 that I can think of.
But I completely agree with you. I think that it just allows I think it's something that we've seen missing from, like, not to name names, but like Ireland in the last few years, is that I think because they
Don't
get...
talk about their national selection.
No, but I think, but exactly, isn't that exactly the thing though? I think that we've seen...
That is a mess.
Poor performances from Ireland, and I think poor support for Irish acts at Eurovision, versus what we see for Finland, which is people are on board and people are on the journey, and the people that you want to capture, yes, there is such a large percentage of the audience that don't engage with the preseason and just rock up on the day, but I think the power of being able to bring in your guaranteed votes because you've had people that have seen like the energy and the charisma and the passion that you brought to the stage.
They produce a star, and then they go onto the Eurovision stage as like a star already, as opposed to some people where it's like, we'll have to wait and see what they bring.
Exactly.
Now, the flip side of that, and I think this is an issue with a lot of national finals. Fatigue and predictability. Yeah. Again, to your point, yes, the vast majority of Eurovision watchers only watch on the day and will still be surprised.
Yeah.
But like, you know... Maybe we borrowed one too many bus stools. Like, again, I wonder if the lack of like support that Sweden didn't end up getting that they thought it came from the fact that the sauna motif had been seen so much that it wasn't as special in that finale.
And again, probably for Erika as
Giant golden microphone was gagging UMK, and of course we were screaming at the TV when it was there, but we knew it was going to happen. And I don't know, like maybe there's some variety, or maybe there's ways they can prevent fatigue, but I will say that Finland is amazing at putting someone on the stage and they are a star and you just know they're good to go.
Yeah.
And I think that we'd be remiss not to mention Karia in this too.
Of course.
You know, we love Erika, but we also love Karia, and Karia is easily one of the biggest things to come out of Eurovision in the 2020s.
One of the biggest personalities, and I think probably one of the biggest, like outside of like probably like Måneskin and Loreen.
Yeah.
I think probably like one of the biggest like knowables.
The
from,
kind of instant
Eurovision.
You mention Eurovision now to people, Karia.
Yeah. There's the green dude.
Yeah, so Finland has produced that, you know. I think the fandom and the people, I'm sure in the comments already saying like, well, they should have won that year, but that's the point, right?
Yeah.
You've got a narrative almost of like they were robbed. You've got the quality, you've got the star making machine that UMK is. It just is so clear how you repeat that formula next year, you're gonna get a potentially winning song. And as long as they don't just go, oh, we gave it to a woman this time and she came 11th, we're gonna send another 6-piece nu metal band through, or like, you know, an EDM party rock band through, because we tried. As long as they keep thinking that it's like
stay the course.
Humor is a strength that Finland you have, but don't just do humor. That's probably what I'm going to say. Don't just lean into humor. Don't just lean into joke. I love joke, but it's not a winning formula.
I love joke,
but joke does not win.
Joke does not win.
And Kari is the best example of the fun, frenetic energy never strayed into joke song.
No.
It was always dead serious. And I think that even Erika's like so camp and quite comical at times, the song, never a joke. And so, I think Karia, Erika, that is your formula.
Yeah.
You repeat that, I think you got to win. Next year. I got so excited, I just spat it out.
No, I agree.
Yeah. Anyway.
But I think that pretty much brings us to the end of the 5 that we wanted to talk about.
Yeah, guys, let us know. Yes, we'll have we're about to do some honorable mentions, but please let us know if you agree with us. These are countries, again, that we just feel like are boiling away under the surface, ready and hungry for a win, that aren't maybe the typical winners that we see year on year. And maybe one of them will win next year. But yes, 3 additional countries that we're going to spend like a minute talking about each, we just want to talk about, that we feel like aren't quite there, but maybe next year or the year after we'd be having a very different conversation.
So first honorable mention, I think, has to go to Poland.
Yes. It might shock you guys, but the Polish national selection this year was
fucking incredible.
Everyone was saying that like whatever changes they made worked, and
I think they stopped doing pay for play.
Yeah, there was there's a bit of but the point the point being is that if Poland, they've only done it once, so it's hard to judge one year as being a pattern.
Exactly.
But if this becomes a pattern, we could be having this conversation with Poland.
I completely agree, and I think that they've seen the value of putting the love into someone like a Justina.
Yes.
I really think that I mean, don't just keep digging up previous acts that did well. I don't need to see Michael back again. But I think that if we see this quality continue from them, there are many songs from this year's...
Make it 2 to 3 in a row,
yeah,
and I think we'll talk. Next one we want to discuss is Latvia.
Yes.
So similar to Poland, we've now seen Latvia qualify 2 years in a row from a country that couldn't qualify to save itself.
Exactly.
The Supernova finale is a little bit convoluted, but I think that the quality of songs that came out of this year's Supernova were really, really, really good.
Multiple very good songs.
And I think that that's sort of something Latvia is not really known for. No. So again, it's not enough to say it's a pattern yet, but you've shown us that you have the capacity to do incredible songs. Bring that the next couple of years, and I think it's a different conversation.
I completely agree. And then our last honourable mention, of course, goes to Czechia.
Yes.
Czechia have been producing some absolute bangers in the 2020s. They have been absolutely fantastic. I just think I don't see the win for them yet.
They're not fully formed. I see the idea forming, and I think as the experimentation of them is happening, we're seeing them not qualify consistently. Yeah. So it's hard to say they can pull out a win with such inconsistency.
Exactly.
But to say that Adonis wasn't a great choice, and the package they had done and the music video and all of that, that was the right path, right? I'd say the same thing for Aiko and Pedestal, and taking the notes of like a song that everyone said was a bit too weak and upping the ante there. Like they are... And then My Sister's Crown, Vesna, oh my God, incredible song. But I think like once we get consistency and once they know how to take those elements into a formula that works for them, they're going to be one to watch.
Yeah, my thing with Czechia is that I think, and admittedly this is the impossible task that I do not have an answer to, but I think that we need to try and figure out how to circumnavigate their lack of appeal to the European public in terms of a public vote-in, because it seems to be the part where they struggle the most.
Look, I think that this year Adonis unfortunately, had a little flop on stage. Yeah. And the previous year, the was pretty bad press around Aiko's song that I don't think as much as she improved and had an incredible stage presence, it was ever going to recover. Yeah. I think though that if they can replicate Vesna, if they can replicate We Are Domi, if they can replicate an Adonis and just kind of tweak those little bits and they can do that 3 or 4 years in a row, then again you'll be hearing back from us, actually.
Exactly, you will be hearing from our lawyers and representatives.
But anyway, Nick, that about wraps it up.
It sure does.
Guys, we hope you liked this episode, and if you have any other countries that you think in your crystal ball you could see winning in the next 5 years,
who have you got down as gunning for a win?
Yeah, let us know in the comments below. As always, we're going to be keeping you company in this cold and lonely Eurovision off season. We promise we won't have any more holidays coming up between now and then.
We can't afford it.
So stay tuned, and if you haven't already, please subscribe because it makes us feel validated.
It makes us feel like our parents love us.
Yes, please love us.
Mom, please.
Closing thoughts, Nick.
Please.
Thank you so much for watching, guys. In the famous words of Nick, Mama, please.
Mama, please.
But we'll see you next week. That's
bye for now,
baby.
Bye.
I like how we both tried to have like a little outro and then just over. Love.